Okay. Animation lesson number 1. Here we go. Here I got a drawing of some kid getting handcuffed. It's for this project. He's got hands holding his arms. I don't know if you can see that very clearly, but there's 2 hands of a cop here about to handcuff this kid. He's got a handcuff here and he's dragging it over to handcuff the other arm over here. So I'm going to get this hand in motion and pulling the handcuffs over. So I've got a couple drawings here. One that I've kind of cleaned up here. And extra piece of paper that I don't need. Here we got, you can see there's a little bit of, just a tiny bit of drag on that one, not much. But this is the first, just a little tug of his hand. And then the next one, he's starting to really pull them together. You can see that they're closer together. And he's pulling them over. So what I'm doing is I'm moving the lines of, this line of his arm comes over a little bit, from one drawing to the next. I've got, I am moving lines just a little bit, but what I'm more moving are these forms that make up the shapes that make this person. So his body's this box, his head's a sphere, these arms are tubes. His hands are like, kind of mittens, or his hands, they're more, when I draw a hand, it's like a square with some fingered things coming off of it and these tubes holding it. So that's how I draw the forms. So I'm more moving these forms. So I've got this little light box and peg bar taped to it. So I use the light to see the drawing underneath originally, and let's say, okay, I want this hand to be pulled that way, and I've got the other drawing in there, the second lines. You can kind of see that it's doubled up a little messy, but you can still say I want to draw it just a little bit further than it was before. So maybe first action is I'll move this arm a little bit. So let's start with, because that's the main thing that's happening. His arms are getting pulled together, but this hand's also throwing down a handcuff. You can't maybe see it with the bottom light because it's blue line. But here's what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this arm, this tube, over just a little bit further than I did the first time. So it's just little increments. I'm moving the arm over, and the hand is going to move over that little box that makes up the palm. His thumb line just a little bit, and these fingers, I could keep it the same, like in a curl, or I could have it, since it's being yanked, just opening up a little bit. So instead of just moving the lines for the fingers, I'm actually kind of going to let that, thinking of the motion of the hand and opening up the fingers, they just kind of fall open a little bit. So I could see it better with my light on it than probably you can. But so what I moved this tube over, moved the box over just a little bit, the palm, and opened up the fingers a little bit. And this hand's actually coming in the opposite way, where he's pushing in with his hand holding the arm. He's going to be pushing it in towards this handcuff, dragging that way. So this line's coming in just a little bit, and this line of his shoulder comes in just a little bit. Shoulder is kind of pivoting, so that this line's not really doing as much. And actually, right here, these lines are getting kind of scrunched together, which is his shirt and his skin, his shoulder. If you pinched your shoulder blades together, these lines here kind of scrunch and get crunched up. So yeah, a lot of life drawing fabric, and you know, knowing how these tubes and forms and muscles work really comes into play when animating. So you're not just drawing lines moving. You're drawing what's happening with the body and the form and everything. So that's how that knowledge helps you draw. And doing life drawing and drawing those spheres and boxes and in the simplest way over and over again will help you do that. So here I'm going to turn off this bottom light since I've got that kind of put together. You can see his hands moving here, fingers maybe opening up a little bit. See this hand over here, how the fingers are curled, and then they kind of fall open because he's pushing the hand, and so it's like he's getting pushed. So I drop the pencil on the other side. I have another one here. So I moved that palm box over just a little bit. How I drew the palm before, I remember how I put it together with the muscles, where the fingers are at. I can say there's one finger here that moved over, other fingers here that fell open. I always draw the two middle fingers kind of together into one, because I don't know, that's maybe how people use it, or it's just easier to draw that way. But this finger's the action finger. These just kind of follow that action, and then the pinky's kind of its own little expression. So this one stays, pinky's kind of staying a little curled up. These middle fingers falling open, following the pointer finger. And I refine the detail of the, like where the joints are on the thumb, where the ball of the thumb is. I can see where it moved over a little bit, and make sure that the mass is about the same volume of these parts, like that. So we'll go into, I'll show you some other stuff later, but that's just kind of what I'm doing when I'm animating, is removing these forms and masses, volumes of what these things are, moving them bit by bit. And you do it over and over and over again, get a lot of drawings, and you look at it, and it's like, he moved, all right. So it is a little tedious, but I know you like to draw, and this could be something you're into, or you might really hate it. I don't know, but the more you draw, the easier it becomes to make things look like you want them to, or like you know what you're doing, or you don't, and people go, "What is that?" So that's art. So anyway, yeah, the hair I draw following is just showing the roundness of the form, and it goes around. It's a sphere. So hair's just kind of, and it's messy, just blah blah, but it all comes from kind of the crown. So we got hair, just not spending much time on it, more spending time on moving these forms the direction I want them to go. So you can see where he just moves just a little bit. That arm comes in together, his left hand's forced in, and fingers opening up. I have fingers opening up a little bit on both hands since they're being shoved around. Maybe he was kind of holding them, protecting himself a little bit, kind of clenched up, and then he's being shoved, and the force is making his fingers open. That was just my idea anyway. Maybe it would go the other way. Maybe his fingers would curl up even tighter. But that's all up to you. And when you animate, you take these drawings, and sometimes you'll be what's called an in-betweener. And you go between the key drawings. Let's say it's this drawing and this drawing, and you'd want to do the one right in between it. You'd see where those lines and forms are, and you'd come back through with your drawing, and you'd say, I want to go from here to there. I got to draw the one in between it, and you use the light box. You draw it just a little bit, and you study the lines. You say it's in between those two, and so you flip like this. You go 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, roll. 1, 2, 3. And it's flipping, rolling. You can hold these down with maybe a little rubber band or peg bar tape kind of thing. I think rubber band's probably a good idea. But saying that animation lesson 1 in 11 minutes. Yeah, then it's pretty much there. Kind of rough, but I could refine it a little bit more, or since this is trying to get this done in a hurry, and it doesn't really, I'm not going for Disney style animation. I could just go ahead and start inking my drawing. You can do it all after you get it all done, and ink it all, a big pile of blue drawings, one after the other, which might be a good idea. Or to save time, what I'm doing here is I'm just not going to go that far. I'm just going to ink it as I go. And by inking, I'm following the blue line to some degree, but then I'm just kind of redrawing, seeing how I drew it before, and what these lines represent. Going, that's his bicep, his elbow down here, and I'm kind of sketching at it, drawing the elbow as a bump, his muscles over here, the form, the shape of the form. There's my lines go over the top of the form. What's below it? I'm thinking about there's a muscle under there, so how do I make that show up? I'm not drawing details as much as the details come out of drawing the parts. So, and these shapes, here's a finger there, and he's pushing it over here. I hope I make the finger look somewhat like the other finger. But right at this point, it's not that big of a deal. His knuckle, I guess, is part of that, but then it might go away. So, these things are always changing, so you're not having to draw exactly what was there before. With the next drawing, it might change. Knuckles go hide themselves back around the back, and so I'm reinventing these parts. Skin's being pushed under his fingers here. You might not be able to see what I'm drawing, but this is a fist clenching around his arm. Let's see how the thumb went a little bit longer. So, thumb over here. Yep, pushing that arm over and clenching a little harder with that fist. And there's a round shape of the thumb here, and these tubes of the finger coming off of that, or the thumb, not a finger, but the phalange, and the palm, the tube going off the back. Some of these lines, I go slow and deliberate once I know where it is, to give it a little solid feel and not a sketchy look. So once I know how to draw that, I kind of ink it in really nice and fine. Veins of the wrist, a couple lines, wrinkles. And that's what I'm doing. I'm drawing. Tubes and pipes and forms and things. All right, well, yeah, there's all kinds of videos on how to draw and how to animate, and check them out on YouTube. Animating characters, animating bouncing balls, anything. So, but this is animating cops. I don't know, animating kids being arrested. This project is for how to keep kids from taking the wrong path and stuff. It's I couldn't tell you about the business or project that what they tell me what they want and I'm doing it, and so but it sounds like it's for a good cause. So it's not for the cops, it's for the kids. Maybe it's for the cops to teach them how to help the kids instead of arrest them. I don't know. But here he is moving. And what's going to happen is I've got a hand moving in to intercept the kid from being handcuffed. He's going to stop this handcuff from latching down on this. So it's not here, but here it is coming in from this side. You can barely see the blue line. But here's fingers. I've kind of got it there in blue line. And it's the first bit of that drawing coming in. And so I'm inventing it for the first time, and not drawing off of anything else. It's just there because it's going to come in really fast. It's like it's gone, it's not there, and then boom, it's coming in. So I might have like a little tracer line. You know what tracers are, mushrooms and yeah, so here it might be even a little bit of foreshadowing of where it's going to go. So he's going to be moving so fast. So I've got a little kind of blur of his fingers coming in to grab this cop's hand and stop it. So that's what this is going to take to get this done and visualized is probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 drawings, and this is not your usual kind of animation. This is I'm gonna go pose to pose, really slow, like show this picture, show the next picture, and it's gonna fade in between the the images. In Photoshop, I kind of go put them both there together. And it's going to go from this drawing, the middle drawing, which is going to be kind of both of them overlapping, and then this drawing, the next drawing. So I could show you the end result here in a day or so. But it's going to be kind of a pose-to-pose animation, which is showing the key drawings. This pose, and this pose. I'm calling it pose-to-pose. I'm not sure what the technical term is. But it's the key animation, just simplified, and for this presentation that they're going to do. If you were drawing for Disney, there'd probably be at least twice that many drawings in there. You know, the amount of drawings and little movements are many. So they have key animators which come in and draw like these things, and the in-betweeners which come in later and go, well, there's a drawing between this one and that one, or maybe two, and so I've got to go, oh my God, I've got to draw this line just a little bit further or a lot further, jump, depending on how fast it's going. They know all this stuff, so they've all done their own animations, and hopefully they work well enough together to make it look good. If not, they got to go work for somebody else. So that's there's plenty of jobs in animation and art that where there's lots of positions to be filled in an animated film. Storyboarding, working with the director just to get the original drawings, concept art, to see what the characters are going to look like, and animators, key animators, people that color the animations, because this is just going to be in black and white, and then they come in and they color it in, and or there's things to do on the computer that also can use the art skills or drawing skills. You got to have some experience drawing to color it, or to make it look like it's all done by the same person, but it's like many people. So that's why Disney pays big money for that. They make big money off those movies, but a lot of it goes out to the artists doing it. You get paid pretty well doing that. In 1998, I was 98, 99. I was getting paid. I thought it was a lot at the time, but like $18 an hour. Probably was a lot at the time. Just to do some, little web digital animations. And, I had a cubicle and sat there, and I went in first day, and they just threw a book at me and said, "Here, use this program and make some stuff." And I didn't really even have much direction. They had enough money to just say, "Do something." And there was a whole bunch of us in an area, and we'd drink lots of coffee and come back in and draw. Okay, 20 minutes. That should be good enough for a first lesson. So in that time, I've got moved. You see that hand go pong right out of nowhere, and then it's gonna probably in 1, 2, 3. I'll probably do 3 drawings to stop. One more, and then it'll grab the hand, and so it's gonna pop, fade, blop, and fade. So that'll be 3 just to move that hand in and grab it, and then it might like have one more where it like clenches on, and so it's a real simple kind of animation, not a. It'll look pretty, and it shows what's going on. So I think that's enough to sell somebody on an idea or a concept, and they've been pleased with everything so far. So that's the style I'm going with. All right, Drew. Well, yeah, if you can look up drawings and animations or things that draw what inspires you, and keep moving that pen and on the paper, pen, pencil, whatever you want to use. I'd prefer pen because you have less time to sit there and scribble that detail. You put a line and it's there, and it's like, well, why did I put that line there? It means I was drawing something. So less time sketching at it, and more time just drawing what's in your head and what you see. I think how they prefer you to do your drawing, because I think it improves your abilities to make a drawing come to life, or that's faster than erasing and shading and all that. It's putting pen to paper and making the drawing happen. And if you make an ugly line or a mistake, just leave it and draw it where it should be. And I think your drawings will improve. I mean, a little bit faster, and you might draw some real ugly looking stuff for a while. I mean, I sure did. Yeah, but it eventually becomes prettier and prettier, or at least I think it better. It looks better than it used to. That's for sure. So okay, his fingers are opened, a little bit on that hand too, and I had a low battery, and so with that, I bid you adieu, and I'll show you this when it's done. But that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do it just like that. Start the basic shapes, move that, worry about the detail after I know where the shape is. And I rock on.